Hello and welcome back to Art Therapy with Jenn. Today I'm going to be working in my Dark Dystopian Collage art journal, and this is a themed journal. So each week we're going to be exploring a chapter or an aspect in this dark future or dystopian world. And in this video, we are starting off with chapter 1. So as my starting off point, I have these two images. We have this young lady on the left. She is in just the midst of destruction and debris. On the right, she is the epitome of decadence in this fancy city. So we're going to start with the left side. I had the feeling that this was in her past where she's standing in the debris. So I wanted to use these like golden, like sepia type tones and try to add a lot of texture to kind of go with how textured and chaotic that debris and destruction was. So that's kind of where my head is at here as I pick little images to go on the page. Now I am opening this is the first page in this new journal for me, so I have to kind of warm up and acquaint myself with it. I don't know if y'all can relate as well. It's like I have to get to know the journal to where I can kind of fill it out better. So one thing I like to do is I take an image, I rip it in half, and I kind of put it on opposite corners of the page. So I did that with the fall trees. And I'm also doing that with this like drab gray dusty image of these like deserted abandoned shell casing metal things. I don't know, y'all. I don't worry about what the background images are more so than the lines, the textures, and the tones of them. It's almost like I'm using them instead of paint. We're creating a picture. And I'm just ripping the edges. I just felt like this page needed some raw edges, and I just like doing it. Who needs scissors? Let's just rip it, y'all. And again, I'm just going to be placing that around. I'm trying to create a really good base for that image of her to be on that will just add more to the whole tone and maybe give us some more details on what happened in her past. So as I was gluing this last image on the little right side of this side of the page, I was looking over and I saw this jewelry image I have of this real close up of this beveled gold or bronze, just this real like shiny metallic-y textured image there. And I knew metal is going to play a big part in our story. I'm not sure how. I don't think it's going to be on the side of the good guys, but metal definitely has played a part in this destruction here. So I just ripped off a couple small pieces. I'm going to place one on the bottom and then on the top. I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think metal is going to mean? I'm not sure, but I know it's going to mean something. And then I found this image. It looks like a black and white kind of vintage image of a cottage. Maybe that was her house before all this horrible event happened. I'm not sure. But it definitely looks like a horrible and just widespread destruction there. A huge moment in this woman's past. Very devastating. And I'm just getting that glued on there and rubbing it down really good. Try to get out those air bubbles. And let's take a look at how the left side is looking. Our starting off point. Now for the right side, where it was that image where she's in, that fancy dress with her hair all done up on that high-rise balcony overlooking what looks to be a very prosperous, metropolitan top city. I wanted to go for more deep kind of jewel-like tones or royal tones, if you will, on the right side. That's what I always think, those deep purples, deep blues. I think of, old school like colors that royalty would wear. The yellows, the purples, the deep blues. And so I'm just going through, I'm doing the same thing. I'm placing an image on either corner on the page there. just to give me a starting off point. And also I was able to use quite a few golden tones because I had these night images where the lights were kind of amplified on the page, so that also played really well with our theme. Then I saw I had this big image of a circuit board that was done in like a blood red color, and I thought, oh, I have to use this. So some technology is going to play a part in this as well, a huge part. Not quite sure yet, we're just on chapter 1, but it's definitely going to play a part in this more, the world that's not destroyed on the right there. I wanted to go ahead and add some more of that gold on there. That's it. I just have a feeling it's going to be a huge part of this story. I'm just going to go around and fill in those last 2 gaps there. I found this really cool close-up of a microscope, perhaps, but it's like this purple and red, so we're going to have some science. And just fill those little holes there so that none of that notebook paper peeks through when I put that final image down. Big contrast to the left side. So I have the feeling the left side is in the past and then the right side is her present now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that image of her down. What do y'all think her story is? How did she get from standing in the middle of all that debris to being dressed to the nines on a fancy balcony? Think she did something nefarious to get there? Or is she a good guy? I'm not quite sure yet. But let's take a look at that right side. Especially she's in a very pretty dress, almost like she might be out on a date or something. It makes me wonder what happened here. So I also saw this image and I knew I had to use it. So it's this flower, and I think it might be a painted flower. Some people paint so well I can't tell if it's a real flower or painted flower, but I fussy cut it out. I wanted to place that right in the middle of the page to act as the bridge from the past to the present. Flower is going to play a huge part in this, kind of as a symbol. I'm just not quite sure what yet, but just like with the metal, flowers are going to play a huge role in our world. Let's just take a look at how it is with the flower in the middle. And now we're going to get to one of my favorite parts when I do story pages, the words. So I've gone through and picked out some words to act as kind of the narrative for the page. And that's going to tell us the story, a lot more to the story. So I'm putting down there extinction event for your little neighborhood. And then welcome to the mouth of hell. So this makes me think that all this destruction was not by accident. But I wonder who caused it. And then on the right, I'm putting up, it's hard to keep pretending everything's fine. And then breathe deep. And then we learn why the flower is on there. We have resistance in bloom. So, now I would like to hear your all's thoughts as well, but where it looks like her little neighborhood just got obliterated. And I have the feeling it was a place she loved. She has somehow got herself in this fancy city here, which I have a feeling may house the people responsible for that destruction. And she's kind of like a spy, I think, for maybe this resistance that's brewing in this world. Because she's telling herself, she's out on the balcony and she's telling herself to just take a deep breath. But it's hard to keep pretending everything's fine. So she's playing the long game in some type of plan for resistance. Let's take a look at the words there. Good starting off point for our world. So we already have things that have happened in the past and things that are brewing in the present. I just wonder who are we resisting? Who is this? Maybe metal has something to do with it? I don't know, I'm curious. My brain is just like going a million miles a minute. What do y'all think? I'm always so curious. I do my story pages. Y'all have just the most wonderful ideas you put down in the comments. See stuff just at different angles that I didn't even think of. Y'all are going to see me now. I'm just taking a Sharpie. I'm filling in the little place there in the middle between the pages. I'm going to be just making a little Sharpie border around the edges of the page as well, just to kind of darken it and just make it look a little more finished. But I think someone just ordered her neighborhood destroyed, and then somehow she's kind of infiltrated in a way into that place, and she's in a position to help the resistance. And maybe this happened over time, and that resistance has bloomed in her to something fierce. That would be so hard to do, y'all. I couldn't do it. My face shows exactly what I'm thinking. Exactly everything. I don't think I can do it. The closest I come is working customer service. When I smile, and every day's a great day. But anyway, so now I'm going around with the Sharpie and some gel pens, and I'm adding details around all the words there, just giving it some visual interest and some more texture, and to kind of jump off that chaos as well. I start with like a layer of Sharpie, and then on top of the Sharpie I'm using gray and white markers to add contrast. And now I'm going to be layering up this white around this flower in the middle. Taking a Posca pen, and I'm putting a outline around it and letting it partially dry, and then taking my finger and fanning that paint out to kind of look like a smoky kind of highlight, a mist, or if you will, just to kind of make it jump out. And I think it just gives it kind of a mystical look. So you'll see me fooling with that, and I'll let it dry a second, and then I'll pat it out. And I'm also in a moment going to be taking a black gel pen. I'm going to be going and just outlining all the little lines of the petals on the flower to make it look like it's almost drawn on there. Again, just to give it some more interest, and then just to make it look kind of darker, because it's a gloomy flower. It's a resistance flower, but it's a gloomy flower. So I'm just playing around adding little details. I don't really want to do too much to this page. Want to keep it mostly just collage, or kind of a glue book style, if you will, just to keep it simple. But I just love fooling with that Posca paint. I don't know, what do y'all think? How long has this resistance been blooming? How long ago was her neighborhood destroyed? Why was it destroyed? Did that bring on the dystopian world here? I'm interested to know when we get to the next chapters. And I'm just adding some more little scribbles and smudges. I like this gel pen because it dries really terribly. So it takes a long time to dry, so I can kind of smush it around and play with it. Terrible for writing, great for art journal pages. And then I'm just taking a white gel pen, and I'm circling her in that small image with the debris so that she stands out, and that it denotes this is very important. Just circling around a lot and kind of smudging it and just making her really stand out from the page there. So I'm very happy with this starting off point, guys. We're definitely going to be exploring some interesting things in this world that are going on. And we start off with a major part of that. So we have this destruction, we're not sure who the people are responsible for that quite yet. But we do know that people are resisting it, and people are starting to wake up to it and what's being done, even if the people that did it aren't aware of it yet. So very interesting. I'm so curious to see what y'all think. Thank you for joining me as we, let's take a look at the final page there. Our chapter 1, I think I'm going to call it Resistance in Bloom. But thank y'all so much for joining me for chapter 1 in my Dark Dystopian art journal. had a lot of fun with it. I'm just forever grateful that y'all join me in my little art videos, especially when I kind of talk out my little narratives in my head. I'm a total book nerd and love watching shows and stuff, so I like to make little stories about stuff when I can. It's almost like a little short story or essay exercise, but instead of writing things, we're pasting images down and getting glue on our hands. So I like to have fun with it and explore another themed journal like my witchy journal and tell a little story on each page. So I hope y'all are having a good day, and again, thank you for joining me. I hope to see y'all next week when we get into chapter 2 and we dive even more into this world and see truly the extent of what's been going on and what's been brewing in this dark dystopia. And thank you all so much, and I will see y'all next week in chapter 2. Bye, guys.